Hey adventurers, so today is going to be another book review. This is going to be for Phantastes by George MacDonald. This is a fantasy, portal fantasy, fairy tale, mythology. This is a classic piece of literature. This is actually written before the time of Tolkien and was an inspiration on him. So it's kind of, yes, it's fantasy. It's very, very much so fantasy, but it's also kind of before the genre was defined to a large degree. So anyways, let's go into this. Phantastes is an early fantasy tale from George MacDonald and is one that has had quite a large influence on the fantasy genre, though it has remained lesser known to the general audience. This is my second read of this book. I read the first time, I don't remember how long ago, 2 years ago, I think, and I believe I read it with Liam from Liam's Lyceum. I don't have a review of it. I chose not to do a review of it at that time. But anyways, yeah, this is my second read of the book. The first time I did not understand it quite well enough to write a thoughtful review. I guess it's right there in my review notes. Anyways, maybe I still don't, but I'm going to try anyways. But before I get into my review, I would just quickly like to say welcome to an Erudite adventure. I'm T. If you're liking what you're seeing from us, please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so this is the story of a young man that enters into a fairy realm and is swept up on all sorts of adventures. It's a very simple setup, and one that has been done many times, probably before as definitely afterwards as well. But with this one, I particularly enjoy it because it is very much a fairy story, with all the weirdness and whimsy that comes along with that. And that term fairy story is one that Tolkien used and talked about in his essay on fairy stories, and he kind of defined that term, and so I really like that term and I really like his definition for it, and so I'm using it here because it definitely fits the definition of fairy story. So part of my draw to this is the atmosphere of the story. That is something I've talked about often, is how very atmospheric books tend to work better for me and help me to immerse myself in the story, and MacDonald does this really, really well. And it's not just like descriptions of things, but the stories and the languages and the language he uses to tell them. There are a lot of moments or episodes in this book that I often think back to, but one of the main ones is a story of like a magical mirror that reflects the same room but in a different location. And the way that all works out, and the fact that it's basically just a fairy tale within a fairy tale, it just intrigues me and it grabs my attention without release. And there's things like this throughout the book. The way that MacDonald weaves these tales into this story that's being told of this character going through this basically fairy forest, and the adventures that he goes on, the things that he interacts with, those stories are so interesting and so immersive to me. And the way that MacDonald weaves the narrative together and constructs the language that he uses in order to tell this story, it's just so immersive to me. Though this is far from a massive piece of the story, there is an aspect of Arthuriana in this book as well. It's small, admittedly, but it also fits so well into the story that's being told, as well as the themes of the old Arthurian tales, with their perilous forests that I end up loving that aspect of it as well. The perilous forest, going into the forest and finding adventure, that is something that captures my imagination, that makes me want to go out into the world, out into the forest, and seek adventure for myself, because I know you can find it, and it's not that you're going to come across a knight or a witch or some adventure like that, but if you just go out into the woods, you will find things that have meaning to you, that are important, and that are worthwhile. And so that aspect of it really resonates with me all the time, every time I see it. It also weaves in other aspects of mythology, though those are less of the focus. Overall, I enjoyed this book immensely, the first time and the second time that I've read it. The atmosphere, the fairy story, the adventure, quite honestly, it is exactly the type of thing that I love as a reader, as a person. It's just, this is what I want stories to be. I know that a book being a classic doesn't automatically make it good, but I do tend to really enjoy the classics, and this one is absolutely no exception. It's just a fantastic, the title is Phantastes, but it's just a fantastic story and a fantastic novel, and I don't fully understand everything about it, but I understand a lot, and I get more out of definitely got more out of it the second time, and the second time having read it previously already, so that I could use what I knew and apply what I'm hearing again for the second time. And it just really helped to do a reread of this book for me, and I'm sure there's still more that I need to study and read about this book, as well as reread the book again several more times probably, if I want to truly understand all that MacDonald is doing here. There's far more that could and probably should be said about this book, but as I've talked about previously, my reviews are much more focused on my experience with the story rather than an actual analysis of the themes of the events, whatever that might be. And so because of that, I feel like this is a decent spot to kind of end the review and just say overall fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. I definitely would recommend it to really any reader. Obviously it's going to be more difficult for some readers than others, and it's not going to work for every person, but it's one of those classics of literature, and especially if you're a fantasy reader, it's great to know where the genre came from and how it developed into what we have today. So anyways, that is my review of Phantastes by George MacDonald. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday and have our social medias linked in the description box down below. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.